Good day, everybody. Sebastian Keynes here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Dragonheir Silence God. Here we are at Season 1, and we are on Day 3. So for those of us that have finished the day, we are stuck at level 16 right now. We're waiting for level 17 so we can keep progressing through the world. But at this point, you're probably going to have all the domains unlocked. You're going to have the goblin lair opened, and you are, going to try to get some of your characters, especially the ones that you're starting with, to at least level 70, rank 3, and try to push as much of the XP as possible. So far here, for some of the ones that I've selected, they are mostly let me put it here on the card overview so you can see there's a good batch of them I already have at rank 3, and so now I'm trying to push as much XP into those characters as possible. There are going to be some things that you want to keep in mind as you start tackling some of these dungeons, especially the rank ones where you're gonna get the fluorites that you need to increase the rank of your heroes, and by stage 2 you have to keep in mind that you cannot use heroes that are of the element affinity that of the dungeon that you are trying to beat, because they either take too much damage or they do not do enough damage. So you're going to start kind of diversifying your roster a little bit to try to tackle these this content. So since I decided to start with fire and poison, one of the early tips that I can give you is that when you come here to the flame domain, that one of the things that I decided to do was to level 2 frost heroes, and of course then we have our adventurer who you can change to frost affinity. So he's fire here, but I come in here and then I change him to frost, and now I then have my 3 frost affinity. I actually have 4 here to try to complete the elemental affinity, but at the same time I'm bringing in Ina. So Ina is debuff dispeller, is one of the best rares, I think, top 3 rares in the game that you can possibly use for this dungeon, so you can dispel the burn that the boss adds on you in the battle of this dungeon. And so what I'm going to do for a separate video is to try to come up with compositions of using rares and maybe some of the epics that are accessible to you right away to try to cover some of these dungeons, just show you what the key aspects of each dungeon is in regards to trying to beat it. So in the flame, you really want to make sure that you get that burn off of you, and then otherwise the boss will just take you out in one hit. When it comes to the frost domain, I think that in this one you just want to have enough damage to bring that shield down as quickly as possible. And on this one, in the Tempest domain, that's the dragon, that's a DPS race. You just want to make sure that you hit him enough times to bring him down, and that's why I bring in my mainly DPS group, I think is what I have here, and then a healer. So these 4 are in charge, or these 3 here are in charge to bring him down, and then I have my tank to get the attention of the dragon. But they are legendary and epic heroes that I had they came over from the closed beta season, so at least I have access in the test server to try to show you how to do it with rares and epics in the game. Another thing to keep in mind too is that you're going to possibly start setting up your PvP, your gladiator arena, and this is something that I found out today because somebody showed me the screenshot of a team that they defeated on the defensive side, and I did not keep this in mind. But you have to come in here into lineup, and you have to set up a different lineup from that you're using on offense. So what happened in my case because I had not clicked here in lineup, or I did not set up my defense properly. What it did is that it took one of the offensive lineups that I was testing and it used it as my defense. So make sure that you come in here and you set up your defensive lineup. The other thing also that I really like that they improved, at least the PvP aspect of this, is that number one, once you get a hero leveled and ranked, all the other heroes that you picked for this particular battle, they are of the same rank and level. So you can actually start forming your compositions, you can start testing things out. And one of the aspects, the other aspects that I have seen too, is that when it comes to your gear, the PvP gear that you put on your champions are going to be different from that of your PvE champion. So for example, so let me take the example here of Orion. So I have all these pieces here laid out of him, and I have this artifact on him. In the PvE side, he doesn't have this gear. He might have a separate gear. So you can take the same piece of gear and use it in two different champions for the two different aspects of this game. So I think that this was a nice addition, and I think it's one that is going to benefit you. And now that all the heroes are ranked up and leveled up to the level of your maxed hero, now you can start testing things out, and hopefully possibly makes this PvP side a little bit more tolerable this season. And you're also going to then have the same experience for the new tag team arena and then live PvP when that opens up. As I briefly alluded to this too, you can start equipping artifacts on your champions once you get them to rank 3. And some of the artifacts that are currently available for epics and rares, you get the materials first. You get the materials from summoning this specific the dupes, and then you get the materials that you would then use to buy these artifacts in the shop, and that's probably what should be going to. Let me see if I can see the exchange. Where is the artifact? Oh, here it is. You come here to the artifact shop, and then once you get enough dupes of the rares, you can come in and wipe these out. I think for a healer, the Luminary Order is very good, just to get you help things get started. You can try to get some extra attack speed if you want with the Dancing Giro, and this Horn of Labyrinth will also give you some extra attack if you need that to do some more damage. In the epic side, I think that some of the ones that I liked a lot, this one is one of them, at least for the PvE side of things, where you can get an extra 20% crit rate when you trigger your ultimate. And so, you know, if you want to RNG that aspect of this artifact, you can only have to build your character with at least 80% crit rate. The healers here, you can use Marrow of the Living, which provides extra healing. I like the Scarab Amulet on my defender because it gives you extra defense, and it gives them a shield it gives them a shield based on the defense when the HP drops below a certain threshold, in this case being 30%. I like to have the Scarab Amulet on the defender that I use for the upcoming Grave of Curse dungeon that is going to open up tomorrow as you clear the dungeon. And then my favorite one, of course, is Crown of the Unclean, because this is one of the few instances where you can apply defense penalty 1 on the targets. So I like to put this on a champion like your adventurer, if you keep him on the fire affinity, or you can put him on somebody like Barrage because his ultimate is AoE. So those are the type of characters that I like to put this on, if at all possible. The other thing that the other thing to keep in mind too, as you go out exploring into the world, make sure that you talk to all the merchants that you come across, and you try to get as many ingredients as you can to try to get to cook. You're gonna need some extra stats, especially when you're trying to clear some of the bosses, some of the dungeons, especially if you are not having enough time to farm. That will give you the opportunity to go and cook and get some of the books, also the list, some of the recipes that are available in the game. When you come to the camp here, just to give you a couple of hints as to what type of food I'm preparing as I go gather ingredients throughout the world. Some of the major ones are going to be the apples and the tomatoes that you want to get as much as you can. Get some boar meat and some beast meat. These are going to also help you prepare some of the food, along with some piranha and salmon. So what are some of the best ones that I think help out, at least in some of the battles that I encounter early on? For example, here, the Anquetine meat pie gives you extra HP and attack. The horn pie gives you extra HP and accuracy. And in another instance, you can get extra attack and accuracy with the beef stew here if you need it, or some royal fish soup to give you some defense and accuracy. So early on, I like to get some of the food that will boost up my accuracy if I need it, or resistance. And then if it's a battle that I know that I'm going to need to just brute force it, then something like attack percentage, especially the high ones, the 10%, are the ones that I'm usually targeting. If you need two of them, like in the beef stew here, is attack plus 8% and accuracy plus 10. So that's the type of food that you can make. And then, of course, you have to prepare it based on the ingredients that are needed. So in the case here of the beef stew, I have cabbage and boar meat here. In a lot of the guides that you're going to see, cabbage is actually in the game is labeled Brussels sprouts, so keep that in mind as you start preparing the food. Here I have the oven wheat with one apple to give me the fruit pie. The sweet fruit wine is one of my favorite because it gives me 25% accuracy. That's the wild berries with the apples. And we also have when you need to go faster and you want to increase the moving speed of your heroes for about 600 seconds, that's when you can use the berries, and that means the wild raspberries and that's the, oh man, what did I forget? The berries, yeah, Fleetwood berries with the wild raspberry. So, and then you can come up with those ingredients as you go there. All of this, when it comes to the artifacts and when it comes to the cooking and the recipes, there is a guide by Karatha, that I am going to link on the description of this video below. In it as well, there is a tier list for heroes. One of the things that I will warn you about, though, is that those scores that were given to the heroes were based on the affinity pairings from Season 0. So in Season 1, some of these heroes actually either lost some of their luster, or even some of them may have gotten a boost because of the pair-ups that they're in. But a hero like Flora, she's still MVP. The wild heroes are still phenomenal when it comes to damage. I think that for this season, we've been talking about it, and for the Vortex, it's going to look like possibly wild teams are going to be the ones that you want to go for when it comes to that content of the game. And then in Arena, we're debating whether it's going to be Dauntless or it's just going to be the Necrotic Frost pair-up that are actually going to do it this season. So all of that will be available in the sheet, and we will be upgrading the tier list in there. And what I'm hoping to do is to test out some of the new epics and rares that are in the game, and we'll add them to that tier list. And then I'm going to let Karatha and Arsalan, who's also contributed to this spreadsheet that I will link, they are actually the ones that are doing most of the testing with the legendaries and also the legendary artifacts that are available in the game. And for the last topic that I wanted to cover in this video, when you get to the battle pass here and you clear level 10, you're going to get an opportunity to select a rare hero from this chest. I have not claimed it yet, so I actually want to see what we can get out of it. I think it might be in the backpack. Yes, right here. So let me click use. And so, yeah, it looks like you can select one of the rare heroes in the game. And especially if you're just starting out and you are not spending any money in the game and you're just relying on the Starlight Helilite dice that the game is giving you. You already have Exandra. She is one of the best healers in the game, even for her type, being a rare. I can tell you that if there is another one that you want to consider bringing into the fold, it would be Ina. Ina is a dispeller. I used her last season, especially for the Feywild boss, which is actually the version of like the Doom Tower or the Void Tower that are in other RPG games where you're scaling up the floors and the opponent's levels increase and the difficulty level increases, but you get rewards out of beating each floor. So if you can get Ina on your roster, go ahead and just get her. Otherwise, I guess the other one would be Irina. Irina does a lot of damage as a lightning rare. And I actually surprised by her when I tested her out during the beta, and I used her in city trials to clear some of that content there. Ina here, yeah, she is one of the best dispellers, so she can heal you over time. But the main thing is that her AOE dispel is very big in some of the content. So the Flame Domain is one, and the Feywild would be another one. So that's one of the rares that you can look for. You already have Cassandra. Irina would be the other one. So those are some of the things for you to look out for here as we're progressing to day 4. And like I said, there'll be some tips here on another video as to how you can possibly cover, at least early on, the domains to get you the material needed to rank up your heroes. And I'm going to try to concentrate on epics and rares, or rares and commons, just to try to, along with your adventure, to try to help you kind of give you an idea as to how you can clear this content, especially if you don't have any legendaries or any of the powerful epics yet in the game. So look out for that in the future, and I will then see you in that video and then any other ones covering Dragonheir Silent Gods.